what inspired you to get into acting?
What matters is the story and how you craft it.
You've answered a lot of the questions already with that one answer, so that's fine.
You always think it's going to be your big break, and then it's like, oh, no, not yet.
So tell us what you're doing now. What are you up to at the moment? You're on NCIS, right?
Yes, I'm on NCIS Los Angeles playing Special Agent Fatima Namazi, and she's a agent who just joined the team, who is also a Muslim woman, a Muslim hijabi woman, which is really exciting.
Please subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on your favorite podcasting platform. Thank you.
Hi there, welcome to Film Forums. My name is Aiysha Jebali, and with me I have Medalion Rahimi. Could you introduce yourself for me?
Hi, I'm Medalion Rahimi. I'm an actor and I live in Los Angeles, California.
So have you always lived in California, or did you move there specifically for your career?
Actually, I have always lived here. I grew up here. My family immigrated here. I did live in Iran for the first few years of my life, but I was born here. So I'm technically a US citizen, but I do have dual citizenship.
That's great. So do I. I'm Tunisian and Scottish as well. So yeah. So yeah, I understand that. I was born and raised in Scotland though as well. So what brought you to acting? How did you fall into it?
Well, I've always, growing up in Los Angeles, you're definitely surrounded by the film industry in general, but I really loved theater always growing up. I did all the school plays. I never really considered it seriously as a career until I was sort of on my own, but I did go to college. I went to UCLA Theater School and minored in English just because my parents were like, okay, if you want to try acting, that's fine, but you have to have a degree. We're not going to let you not go to college. So I was like, okay. So I went to the school of their choice, which UCLA is a great school. But and then once I finished school, I just sort of just started auditioning, finding breakdowns online on casting websites and things like that, and just drove myself to whatever I could find.
Totally understand that one. That's pretty much where I'm at the moment. So did you try to get an agent immediately, or did you wait until you had some things under your belt? Like, would you have any advice for people seeking representation and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because it sort of happened pretty organically for me, but I was considering like sending out headshots, reaching out to agencies and things like that. It just felt really overwhelming, and I had heard most of the time. I had sent some things, but got nothing because half the time they throw those out. But I'd actually found an audition on Actors Access and went there. And one of the casting directors also happened to be a manager. And so then he started finding me, and that was for like a really indie, weird film. And he basically recommended I don't do it. He didn't think it was a good idea. So I was like, I like that. So I'll hire you. Sure. And, they don't make money till you make money. But then he sent me out on an audition for like an ABC family show. And I hadn't had access to those types of auditions. On our own, there's no way without an agent or a manager, So luckily for him, he sent me on that. And then the casting directors for the ABC family show introduced me to my first agent, because they were like, wow, we really like you, but you need an agent. And so then the agent was like, if you book this job, I'll hire you. And they ended up booking it. So,
fantastic. Right. So it kind of went from there.
Rude of the agent to like put that pressure on me. I have to say, I'm not with her anymore, but so.
for us in the UK, things are a little bit different with talent agents and managers. So for us, a lot of the time, our agent is also our manager, and there's kind of
you don't need both.
A gray area, So could you explain what the difference is in LA or in America specifically? Because I think that confuses quite a lot of British actors that are looking to make the move over there.
Absolutely. I really do think you really need one or the other. At least when you're starting out, you don't need both. I just happened to get a manager first, which is supposed to be somebody who just guides you in your career, someone that you're personal with. And somebody that you would want, somebody who also has connections, that has an into different, casting directors, or they know people in the business. That's really what a manager should do, is help you network and help mold your career and market you and brand you. An agent, they just handle the auditions and the money and the jobs, you know, like that's, but I know people who are very close to their agents and then don't have a manager, or people who don't have an agent because their manager also submits them, which my manager also does submit me for certain things. So right now there's not really big of a difference. It used to be more, I think, in the past, but now I have a lot of actor friends from the UK or from Europe that just have a manager or just have an agent, you know, and they're doing great. So
yeah, no, it
really matters to have.
It's interesting to hear what, you know, how that works, because I know here a lot of the talent agents, like they subscribe to the Personal Management Association and things like that. So they're basically both anyway. So I used to be quite confused over how that worked, you know, in America, because there seemed to be quite a stark difference, you know, but we didn't have it here. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about self-submissions and things like that on breakdowns? Did you do quite a lot of that yourself as well?
I did. That was a lot of the work I started just to make money, you know, because I did industrial commercials, which are for like printers, for that people will show at work to demonstrate how to use this printer. And that's the only people that see it are people who work in office buildings. And I did an ear piercing gun industrial. So I have like all these piercings on my ears from that day because they just wanted to show how to use this ear piercing gun. And then it was a lot of those things, music videos. I was in like a Beck music video I found on my own. I lied about my age so I could be in it. Okay. So, Beck and Charlotte Gainsbourg. I was like, I would love to be in this. So, you know, I definitely, you do what you got to do.
And the thing is, you never know what those people will be doing next as well. That's what I always think, you know. I love doing indies and things like that as well, because you don't know where those people are going to be in 5 years, if they're, you know, still going to want to keep working with you and things like that. So everything can be an opportunity, I guess, you know.
Indies are also, that's like the dream. It's hard to get good indie roles unless you have a big following or you were on a show or something. And I realized that it's like, I wanted to go the indie route, but seemingly my career just went a bit more commercial, which I'm grateful for, you know. It just wasn't how I imagined it, you know. It's not as creative or alternative, but I'm hoping that one day we can get there.
How was it your first time being on like a big budget set? How did you take to that? Was it quite a shock?
It was, but all in a good way. You know, it was wonderful. It was like nothing you've ever seen, the big scales of like the sets and the costumes, and, you know, everyone treats you so well. And that's like why actors get big heads. I get it, because you are like so babied on set when it's like a big project. But it's nerve-wracking. I know I had like a panic attack before my first big table read for the Shonda Rhimes show, Still Star-Crossed, because I heard that people get recasted, you know, the first day. And someone did end up getting sent home and recasted after the table read. So it was things like that happen. Like, you're always worried you're going to get fired the first few days. And once you get over that and you're like, okay, I think I'm good, it's amazing.
That's so cool. I mean, it is. I can understand why it would be scary though. Like that sounds nerve-wracking if they can just make a cut like that so quick, you know, on the day of the read, you know. You don't hear quite as much about that here, to be honest. It's quite interesting, some of the differences, you know, as well. But have you ever done any UK film work?
No, I haven't. I wish. I mean, I think a lot of content that comes out of the UK is really great and like so based in reality and realistic, and I love that nitty-gritty vibe. But I haven't worked in any, no.
Okay.
I did do Still Star-Crossed. I had a British accent, but it was RP, you know, like Renée pronunciation. It's not really.
Every actor has to have RP in their bag. So well done on that. Like, especially because it's not something that you've grown up around. I think that must be quite hard, to adjust to.
Yeah, totally. I love mimicking people though. So.
Okay, right. Have you ever done any like impersonations or anything like that?
I'm mostly just of people I know really well, like my good friends. But I should plan a couple so that the next interview I have, I can like whip them out. But I don't have any guy in my pocket or anything right now.
Yeah. Have you ever done any voice acting at all?
No, that is something I would love. Yeah, love to get into. Yeah, that would be my dream, to do like to be like in a Studio Ghibli movie or like an anime and do the voice or something. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I recently did like my first animation voiceover, and I was just approached on Twitter, and it's really funny how jobs can just come up, things that you're not looking for or applying for, but they're good fun to do. And now
it's so hard to break into that here. Break into doing, voice acting, really difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure actually what it's like here, because it's not something that I actually put myself forward for. It wasn't something that I felt. It's funny because I grew up doing voices, like impersonating people and picking up accents and prank calling and all that good stuff, that you do when you're an enthusiastic teenager that loves playing around. And but I never, for some reason, I never thought about voice acting. Like I just wanted to do film and TV. But then my agent that I recently got, she said, have you ever thought about doing voiceover work? So, well, I've got this silly clip where I do like a bunch of different voices. I could send it to you and see if you think it's, useful. Absolutely. And now she's putting me forward for loads of voice work. So I'm like, this is kind of cool.
Having credits will help if you transition to, west to the US market. Like having credits helps. It's just like waiting. Like even it's so hard to get even a waitering job here, You have to have experience to get anything, but
yeah. Talking of side jobs, what side jobs have you done to support your career?
Let's see. I worked in both of my parents' offices. My mom's a lawyer, my dad's a dentist, just like answering phones. And then I was a receptionist at a hair salon in LA throughout college, just to help make some of my own money. And then I did that for a while when I started acting. But then I got lucky with acting, so I didn't have to work. But then there was a moment in time where I had to go back to working. So I worked, I did Postmates. I was a Postmates driver for a while. And then I worked at Bloomingdale's as a, just like a checker and someone who helps you with the.
Yeah. I mean, acting can be like that, I guess. It can come and go, especially when you're kind of starting out, I think, definitely.
Absolutely. You always think it's going to be your big break, and then it's like, oh, no, not yet.
So tell us what you're doing now. What are you up to at the moment? You're on NCIS, right?
Yes, I'm on NCIS Los Angeles playing Special Agent Fatima Namazi, and she's an agent who just joined the team, who is also a Muslim woman, a Muslim hijabi woman, which is really exciting because a lot of the times I've gone out for a lot of Muslim roles just because, I'm Iranian and I'm technically Muslim, but spiritual in my own way. But a lot of them have been to play, spies or terrorists or mentally ill persons. So it's like nice to finally have a role where I'm,
a real person.
Good side. Yeah, a real person on the good side of things, allowing Muslims to sort of define themselves without like a Western agenda smacked onto it.
I'm also from a Muslim background, obviously, Tunisia's Arabic North African.
Renée, I was like, yeah.
It's same with yours. As soon as I saw Rahimi, I was like, oh, where is she from? So, I think sometimes it's kind of hard when you see roles. Like I always say, I think the first person that I saw playing someone where like his ethnicity, but he's of a similar ethnicity to us, but his ethnicity wasn't important to the role at all. And it's Rami Malek in Mr. Robot. So for me, like that was a really inspiring moment. And I didn't realize how much that meant to me until I watched the first episode. And as soon as I watched it, I literally had to press pause and go find out where he was from, because I was like, he looks like us, you know what I mean? Like, he looks like me, my family, that sort of thing. So I was like, I need to find out, because I had only really seen those other roles, you know what I mean, which are usually supporting roles as well. They're not leading roles, you know what I mean? So I can totally understand your excitement over getting a role that portrays, someone who's a little bit more diverse and things like that as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's positive for the community.
Mm-hmm.
And, and it's not all about her being Muslim. Exactly. It's just, she's just Muslim and there, as opposed to like every episode was about like her struggle or like fitting in and all of that. That's what I'd love to see more of. Yeah. Just normalizing people of color as lead roles, regardless of what the story, entails.
Yeah. I think because all humans, we go through similar things, you know what I mean? And I think sometimes that's kind of missed out a little bit, in the media, but it is changing. It's definitely changing. You can see massive steps forward, which I think is amazing. And, the roles that you're playing and things like that, and how well you're doing is a tribute to that. Definitely you're being a role model for women of color, particularly women from a similar background as well. So, I think it's always really inspiring for me to see, diversity in film, no matter where they're from,
That's what I do. It's literally what I do it for, because I remember growing up and feeling the same way of not seeing anybody that looked like me or had any sort of similar cultural background. And I wanted to be that person for some people. And there were, of course, some actors like that for me as well. But for the most part, I looked up to, Anglo, white.
Same. Yeah.
For the American or British. There's a lot of great British actors, actresses, but I like to say actors in general. Yeah. that I love.
So who would you say are your favorite actors?
I love Tilda Swinton.
Okay.
Just incredible, so chameleonic. And I love Julianne Moore. And then Golshifteh Fatehani is actually an Iranian actress that I look up to a lot. I'm hoping we might be working together soon. I'm not sure, which will be really exciting. But those are I think my top three. I also think Viola Davis is just incredible, like such a powerhouse. You have quite a strong social media presence, and obviously you're very good at marketing yourself. Do you have any advice to actors about that and about how to do that? Yes, I got a lot of advice. People do love to see photos of you, I've realized. And I don't really like to post that many of myself, but I realized like it is what a lot of your followers want. And I used to be afraid to be political, but now I don't give a fuck anymore. I will post whatever I feel I'm passionate about. And so I do think that actors need to not be afraid to do that as well, because I've lost some followers, but they're people I don't necessarily want following me anyway. And I've gained new ones that are more diverse and open-minded, which is like, those are the people I want supporting me anyways. And I want to support and help as well, and like explain things too, if possible. So I think it's just to have fun with it and don't let it become, this like gross thing, because it can get like that and go through phases of like, sometimes I just want to post because I'm just like, I can't deal. We feel a pressure to post all the time, but
Have you had any like crazy fan experiences or anything like that?
Nothing too crazy, just through DMs and stuff like that. I do tend to engage sometimes when I know I probably shouldn't, but it's always for the positive. And I just really want to understand where people are coming from. If they post something where I'm just like, can you like tell me why you feel this way? I'm just curious. I would really like to understand your point of view. So, but nothing crazy. I've been so lucky and the fans are all really great.
That's good. That's really good to hear. people are just appreciating you, you know. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. And what do you think is next for you? What do you want to do now?
Well, I'm sort of contractually obligated to stick around, but after NCIS LA, for a little bit longer. There are two independent films that I'm really interested in and hopefully can be a part of. And they're both sort of about an Iranian American woman, but and one of them sort of is about her experience, and the other one it's more of like an art house sort of like abstract film that I think will just be beautiful, and I would be very creatively involved, which would be exciting. My poems would be in it, which would be awesome.
Wow. Yeah.
So I'm hoping all of those work out. It's tough with COVID because they want to shoot that in France. So it's like, we'll see what happens. I'm hoping.
Hopefully they can do some kind of safeguarding or something. With the films that you have done, are there any that you would pick out that were particularly interesting for you to be part of? Was there any that really you had an amazing experience with?
Before I Fall was just such a beautiful, great experience. We shot in Canada. It was, directed by this amazing director, Ruah Young, and she was just such a dream to work with, and all the girls that we got to work with, and we just had so much fun. It was about bullying, which was great. Every project I'm obsessed with. Still Star-Crossed was, again, just so dreamy. We shot in Spain, and it was Shonda Rhimes, and I got to be a princess, so it was like dream come true.
Oh, that's lovely.
Technically, it was a Disney princess because it's ABC, so it's like, yay! Since I didn't get to become Jasmine, but that's okay.
I understand. Do you have anything that you would want to advise people, like young girls who are growing up, in a similar multicultural home, because obviously inside the home, we've grown up with a very different culture, and then we go out to school and things like that, and it's a whole different ball game. Is there any advice that you would give to any young people that are kind of struggling with that, finding their identity, finding their place, and also, trying to pursue their creativity?
It's so hard because I know growing up in a different culture in a Western country is very confusing. We have this like systematic shame of otherness that like we know we're different. It's always pointed out to us that we're different. You bring lunch to school and everyone's like, what is that? You know what I mean? It's like, you feel it. So you have to learn to define your sense of self, like outside of that shame, and to then find out that like that culture is actually what sets you apart and what makes you interesting. And like your parents' word isn't God. I know that we also might grow up thinking like that, and that it's what makes you happy is what's most important. And to not be afraid to follow the creative path. I think that is something, my parents would have loved if I was a doctor or something, or a lawyer, but you just have to do whatever is most fulfilling to you.
I think growing up, I was definitely like kind of like yourself, maybe felt a little bit, a little out of place, or, not quite Scottish enough, but not quite Tunisian enough, that sort of feeling. I'm not sure if you also kind of felt like that, but I think quite a lot of people
straighten my hair all the time and my eyebrows and to the winter. I didn't want to speak Farsi for a long time because I didn't want to be different. But there's all of that.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then, as you said, you realize as you get older that those are the things that make you something, something unique and different and beautiful as well. Like, do you have any like final thoughts or anything like that for our listeners?
I hope that, somebody heard something that made them feel a little bit more comfortable in themselves today.
Please subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on your favorite podcasting platform. Thank you.